Good morning, everyone. This is Sameeria from the Rainmatter Foundation, and I'm delighted to be here at the Climate Asia conference for imagining a sustainable legacy for a greener tomorrow. Indeed, at the foundation, this is the core question we've been dealing with for over 2 years now. When we started thinking of the climate problem, we realized very quickly that it goes far beyond the framing of carbon dioxide, temperature, and mitigation measures through the mobility and the energy transitions that were much talked about. It does intersect with the lives of every citizen, of the state, of businesses, of every actor conceivable. What is climate but the outcome of a series of bad trade offs we made for hundreds of years in everything we do, in our road building, in our construction, in our food systems, in our choice of fabrics, in our design of industries, the economy itself. And if you have to correct this, if you have to fix this, we have to be able to reverse in everything we do again. It's an everything, everyone, all at once problem. And this necessarily needs every citizen, every actor to understand this, to understand how the climate problem intersects with their lives, the choices and the opportunity they have to actually influence this to get better outcomes for generations to come. So when we started looking at it, we realized, for instance, that energy and transport are not end users. Energy intersects heavily with water, that intersects heavily with our food systems in agriculture, post processing, and so on and so forth, which again in turn intersects with health, it intersects with how we earn our incomes, with how our economy is constructed. So it's a little futile to look at some of these things in isolation, because you may be actually solving a set of problems in livelihoods but accruing debt in energy, and that's counterproductive. The second aspect is to look at it systemically, because net energy calculations, net material calculations are often far more complex than the simplistic silver bullets suggest. And we found this again and again in our journey over the last 2.5 years. So, one method we found uh, very useful when we started looking at the climate problem is to look at it through the lens of the place. What makes a place livable? Because all of these places, when you add them together, add up to our planet. And if you are able to take charge of our places, if you are able to take ownership of our places, if you are able to account for all of these dimensions and the trade offs between them, do that better, I think we have a good shot at finding answers to many of the problems that add up to climate change. This is both from a mitigation lens and an adaptation lens. I think the lines blur very easily when you start looking at it from the lens of a place. And this is something we've been trying to do over the last 2 years. So, a partner recently did an interesting experiment in Jharkhand. They started with understanding the local basket of needs. The panchayat realized that it was spending over a crore buying vegetables. This is in a remote panchayat in Singhbom in Jharkhand. And as they started analyzing it, they of course realized the need for a kitchen garden. They realized the need to manage water better for that. But very soon started to understand their hydrogeology, their percolation levels, their level of rainfall, and came up with the need for localized lift irrigation system to enable this. This level of thinking would have been impossible if the solution or the need was identified somewhere far away. So the enablement of the local communities goes deeply hand in hand with this place lens of looking at the climate problem through. Uh, it's also important that we start measuring everything we do in the sense of problem solving, in the sense of dealing with the communities, dealing with not just the climate problem, but all other problems when we look at livelihoods, whether we look at education or health. It's important that we account for all the other variables, because they are interconnected in a lived way at these places. It's us who are catching up with the ideas of intersection and so on and so forth. But these realities have existed in biology in these places forever. So it's important that we acknowledge it. It's important that our problem solving at least accounts for the dimensions that we are not directly influencing or trying to influence, and at least do no harm. So our M&E really has to move to the idea of the place, what happens to a place, what are the variables that matter to the place, and try to do a better job of it. As we do this, collaboration becomes not a matter of choice, because you may have a lot of experience with, let's say, water or climate smart ag, but you will come across a problem in waste, you will come across a problem in trying to expand livelihoods that goes hand in hand with this, for which you need partnerships. You may have a question in energy that a partner could answer. You will need to partner with the government if you need to do this at scale. So I think the way we started thinking of collaboration is again from the place lens and the lens of the community, where they require us to do this. It's not a good to have feature at our end. So we started thinking in terms of coalitions and some terms of consortiums that actually start to get together to solve many of these problems. And we're seeing some early success on it. The last thing that I would like to touch upon is the need for flexible funding, because a lot of these problems are gigantic problems. And if you want to truly leave them solved, not just solve them in a way where one example or one proof of concept happens successfully, but it doesn't really change anything for the long term. It doesn't create an ecosystem of solutions that are available to change makers in a continued way. This needs funding to flex. Funding needs to flex to account for the place, for people to be able to discover their own needs, come up with their own solutions, and not necessarily intervene, but be ready to respond to these needs. Funding needs to support a lot of ecosystem plays that are available as a response to people as they start to understand their needs. And when I'm referring to funding, this refers to philanthropic and CSR funding, but it also refers to how government plans its programs and schemes. Uh, I think the place lens is very central to it, um, and also whole systems view, looking at it through the interconnected lens. These can fundamentally change how problem solving happens, and that's when we'll probably arrive at a set of solutions that not only demonstrate what can change, but introduce ways and methods of problem solving that can continue to address problems that keep emerging over time. Because all said and done, it's not that this is the last set of problems. It's not that we will not need to reevaluate, reassess, and make trade offs in a continued way for all of these places. We hope to collaborate with a wide variety of players, because the solutions are out there. For the last 10, 20, 30 years, people have done some fantastic work in this space. And I think we need to build upon these solutions, this knowledge. It's just that the lens that we bring to this problem solving could change a little bit now. And I think if we pull together in a combined way, in a audacious way, we could actually imagine a greener tomorrow and create a legacy that sustains for generations. Thank you.